So the shoot with Marlene Jimenez was a personal project that we did. She is actually a makeup artist that I work with, and she also rides vintage motorcycles. And it was something where I really wanted to showcase a multi-talented single mom who's doing really awesome stuff. And so we kind of designed this shoot around that. The location is actually a friend of mine's garage, and it embodies kind of a strength and a character that she has. The concept was really to make her look as awesome as possible in a really cool environment and kind of create a cinematic mood and look to the portraits. But with cinematic lighting, the idea is to make it feel like it's natural, so that it's supposed to be in the environment that you're in. In this case, we are looking at sunset type lighting and sun coming through a window, and then using a colored gel or fill to open up the shadows, but still keep it looking realistic to the environment. So for the lighting setup with this first portrait, I used a 39-inch deep octabox as a top side light, and it was sitting kind of just above me. And then in the background, to get that smoke and haze lit up in the room, we put a 7-inch reflector just on a D-Light RX4 and shot it into the smoke. And it kind of turns into its own diffuser, so it can spread the light around and soften it up. With the lighting on the second portrait, I wanted it to feel like natural sunlight coming in through a window, and she's sitting thinking about the ride ahead or whatever she was going to do. So we put 2 heads on an ELB 400 outside of the window and put CTOs on them. And they're up high at a downward angle to create kind of that sunbeam effect. And one of the reasons we're just using reflectors in this case is because when you have that nice hard light coming through a window, it creates that beam effect that you see a lot of times at sunset or something like that. So it gives that a really nice, warm, natural feel. To raise the shadows up just a little bit and to put a little bit of color in, I had a 53-inch octabox just off of the camera on the left. And inside of there, we had a purple gel just to put a little bit of color and interest into the photo. So you can see the details in the motorcycles and in the background, but not so much so that it's distracting from the subject. On this shot, it was actually a pretty organic moment. We were kind of getting ready to wrap up, and I saw this couch with this American flag and had this idea to do a portrait of her sitting on a couch with a sun feel behind her. What we did was take that lighting setup with the ELB 400 and the 2 heads around the backside of the garage and place it directly behind her. We moved our 53-inch octabox up and feathered it off, so really you have that light pointed more or less away from her and just creating a little bit of fill down the center of her face. One of the most difficult things is having enough props in, but keeping the set simple enough that it's not distracting from the subject that you're actually shooting. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll come into an environment and start cleaning things out that look out of place, being aware of what's reflecting and what's shiny in the room, things like that. On the portrait where she's sitting on the couch, adding her helmet into the scene and having that as a piece, so it does again tie the story back together instead of just a girl sitting on a couch with an American flag behind her. You think about your concept and then think about what will add to that and what will take away. And if it's going to take away or distract in any way, get rid of it and clean your scene up a little bit. With the post-processing and retouching, one of the things I really like about working with gels and these big soft boxes is that what you have as a canvas is really there. And that's kind of the fun of the cinematic lighting, is when it comes out of camera, you're really close to your end product. And when I get into Photoshop, it's really about small enhancements and taking the things out that are distracting. Being able to be on a location like this with someone like her and create images is really what it's about for me.